Thought Bubble.
Welcome back
to podcast number 3.
Yeah.
So wow, we actually have like a somewhat consistent schedule, which is amazing. Quite shocking.
Yeah. Last time we waited like almost half a year to record again, so
yeah, that's true. Okay, so today the topic we will be delving deeper into is childhood stories.
Yep.
And we actually, thinking back, I probably have a lot. I just like kind of blanked out on all of them recently, so
okay,
this will be interesting. Okay,
so we were gonna start with school stories, but both of us didn't grow up in Boston, and so this is gonna be interesting. Do you want to start?
Sure. Actually, we should give a little bit more context. So,
Okay.
I grew up. Well, most of these stories are gonna be about my old suburban town, Andover, because that's where I consider like my childhood that took place, even though I did live in North Carolina a little bit before. But all my stories will be taking place in Andover, which is, if any of you don't know where that is, that's in the suburb of Massachusetts. It's a pretty white town, but there were some Asian people. So yeah, to give a little context about that. Do you want to talk a little bit about what Michigan was like?
Yeah. Michigan is basically like your standard like suburban place. I lived in Ann Arbor, which is like a college, like what's it called, college town, and so there's just like a lot of like students there and stuff. But yeah, it was just like standard suburban town.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, we can just talk about like what we were like as kids, because I don't know about you, but for me, that time of my life was like a very sad,
Really?
awkward time of my life, just because when I was younger, I was like super shy, like not like standard shy, like all children are like, or most children are like shy to at least some extent. But I was like the type of shy that would just like sit in a corner and be a loner and just not say anything and just like
Really?
hug my teddy bear, cry, and that was about it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, when I was like in elementary school and stuff, I was like well, there weren't a lot of Asians. So, I was basically just friends with a bunch of like yeah, like white people, and I had this friend. Her name was Charlotte, and like I remember it was like 5th grade or something, and she's like a year older than me, but she joined like this new like group of friends that were like pretty. They were like popular, and like around that time was like when people like start forming cliques and stuff. And so I just remember like her hanging out with like the popular people and like playing with boys and stuff, and then I would like be stuck with like, I wouldn't say we were weirdos, but we just like played like in the bushes a lot, and like we were like acted like animals. It was weird, but like yeah, that was like, I just remember that happening, and like I remember people like separating to different cliques. But my friend group around that time was interesting. We did weird stuff, but yeah.
That makes you guys sound like cavemen. Like straight
I mean,
up.
we kind of were like cavemen. We like smushed berry. Okay, here's the thing. In my elementary school, there was like this bush, and it was kind of like a cave, right? There's like a hole in the center, so we would just like go inside the bush, and then we pretend to be like animals or something. I guess you could call us furries, but we weren't like explicitly like pretending that we were animals. I think we were just like trying to be like nature-y and stuff. But yeah.
I see. Getting in touch with nature.
Yeah.
As a young one. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like my friend group was pretty much the same in elementary school. Like from when I was young to like growing up. Like I don't know. I just hung out with like the smartish, quietish people. So I feel like the quiet people in my elementary school. So this is like 1st grade. They as we develop this bond of like quietness and being quiet and like We kind of just became friends, and then like growing up we eventually developed into like the smart part of the class, just like the people that were like
Ooh.
doing multiplication tables and like always finishing first, and like yeah, I don't know, we just kind of, my friend group especially developed like a reputation of like intelligence and just like being bookworms, because I remember like all we would talk about is like books and like Percy Jackson and like all that stuff. So it was fun though, it was a fun time. Yeah.
I mean, in my school, I wouldn't say I was like considered smart, but like looking back, I do realize that I like picked up on topics a lot faster than everyone else. I think it was just because it was like a smaller town and like not a lot of people were like focused on education, I guess. It was more just about like having fun. So, yeah. I think I only like started getting serious about school once I came to Massachusetts and like yeah.
Yeah, something I heard you like mention a long time ago is that like you guys used to call your teachers by their first names.
Yes. Oh my gosh,
Right?
that was the really weird thing about my school. So my school, I think it was called like an alternative school or something, but basically like all the classes they were like grouped up into like 2 grades. So every class would be like third and fourth grade or like first and second grade and stuff like that. And you would call teachers by their first names, and like teachers would like legitimately get offended if you like call them like Miss something or like Mr. something. And it like I just thought it was normal. So like when I went to like an actual school and I had to call people Mr. and Mrs., I was like, this is so formal. Like I feel so weird doing this. And I don't know. I think it like made us get like a little bit closer to our teachers. Like our teachers were a little bit more relatable. They were just like they weren't really authority. Like we didn't really see them as like a big like scary teacher that's gonna like punish you or whatever. So I think like take it for what it is. But yeah.
That's interesting. I think for like school organization for us, it was like really different actually. So, well, obviously, first of all, we did not call our teachers by their first names,
Yeah.
which is to be expected. But like for us, basically, like every grade was divided into like two classes, and so like each of those classes would have its like certain teacher who would teach all of the subjects. Yeah, and then like I think like this also applies for right now, but like the teachers when I was younger had like reputations for like being nice or like funny or like whatever. And there was like a teacher I remember who would have a reputation for like giving her students hot chocolate.
What?
Yeah, it was great, but I never got her, which is sad. And so like everyone wanted her. The one I got was like, I just remember she was kind of like a fat mean old lady, and like no one really liked her, but you know, we survived, and that's all that matters.
Yeah. I remember like for some reason all of my I think almost not all of them, but almost all of them had like pets. And like one of them, her name was Maggie. She was like, okay, this is how I remember. She was like really, really tall, and she would always have like a snake like around her neck or something. And she like let us watch her like feed the snake mice or rats or something. And like I don't know how I wasn't traumatized by that, but I just thought it was really cool how like all the teachers had pets and stuff.
Dang. I think at my school, at my elementary school, like there was only one pet, and it was a snake, and no one liked it because it was kind of scary. But yeah, I do remember that we did have this unit where we each raised our own caterpillars and then turned them into butterflies and set them free, which is really cute.
Oh yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Damn. Oh yeah, wait. Actually, never mind.
Yeah, but actually I thought for me it's kind of traumatizing because like ever since I was younger I hated like anything that looked remotely like a worm. So that meant, like inchworms, caterpillars, worms. And like I remember when I was younger, like my friends would like find worms on a rainy day and try to like chase me around because like they knew I was scared. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. I remember in preschool, I used to like play with worms with this guy named Cody. It was so weird. Okay, so like every time it rained, there would always be worms like under the rugs, like outside or something, and we would just like play with them, and it was so weird. I don't know how.
Oh my.
I guess that's a difference, but yeah.
Actually, at my school, like the guys were like super cruel. They would
Really?
like find caterpillars and then like mush them up with sticks and then like bury them under trees.
So terrifying.
Yeah, it was like this kind of probably foreshadows something about their personality that I don't want to pinpoint, but
Oh
like
my god.
yeah, that's basically what they would do like most recesses, and yeah, it was gross. I
That is
don't know why.
terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Guys
I
at
would
my school
say
were weird.
I would say probably the biggest thing that I miss about living in a suburb is like the community in the neighborhoods, because our neighborhoods, they were like really like big, and they were like really green, and there's like so much forest around us, and like I just have like really fond memories of like going into the forest and like getting lost and just like trying to find like our way out and stuff. And we would
Oh.
also have like we'd also like bike on the roads a lot. And so it was just like, I don't know, it's just like a lot of freedom in the suburbs that I miss a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally agree with that like community point, because I remember my neighborhood, it was like a really tight knit neighborhood, and I just remember like my one of like basically my next door neighbor, like I think she was like two houses down, was my fifth grade teacher, and
Really?
she
That's
lived
so
like
cool.
two doors down from me, and it was amazing actually. She was like one of my favorite teachers. She was, in my opinion, one of the best teachers in the entire school, which is amazing.
Dang.
And yeah, I just remember like when we were walking our dogs, like she would always come outside and like pet them, and like once she hired me and my brother to like play violin and piano at her daughter's graduation party, and she paid us $20, and I thought that
That's
was like
so
the
cute.
coolest thing ever. So
Yeah. Yeah, same with my old neighbors too. It was like a really close community. Like I would like go some girl like down the street would like always babysit me and stuff. My best friend was like literally right across the road. Like it was a safe road. It's not like a highway road. So,
yeah.
but yeah. Um and like I think we'd always have like block parties there, and like the whole neighborhood would like come to our like little circle thing. I forgot. Is it like a cul-de-sac? Is it
Yeah.
called a cul-de-sac? Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
what it's called. And there'd always be like block parties, and there would be like a bunch of food, and like, and we would always like draw like with chalk on the sidewalks and stuff. It was
Mhm.
cool.
Wow. Yeah. My neighborhood actually had two cul-de-sacs. So it was like it was like weird. It was like a street, like a road kind of, but it had like two cul-de-sacs within the road. So like it split up twice into two separate cul-de-sacs at like two different points. Okay, that sounds kind of confusing, but basically there are two cul-de-sacs along my road, and there's also like another little street that like branched off of my street, and that led to more houses. But yeah, it was great. It was like literally every day I would like bike around, like cuz my street was like a huge slope. So then I would like bike up and then like at full speed without braking just zoom all the way down. And it was amazing. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah. I would also collect rocks because I remember at the top of my street, like at the top of the little slope thing, there's like a little street that branched off, and like on the side it was just like covered with like these like pebble stone thingies, and they were like sometimes I would find ones that were like shaped like hearts and stuff like that, and they're really smooth and they're really
Oh,
pretty.
nice.
So yeah,
Yeah, I
it was
remember
cool.
like in the middle of my cul-de-sac, there was this thing. We called it an island because basically it was just like a circle of like land in the middle of like a circle of houses. And like I remember we like me and my friend, we would always like go to the center and we'd pretend we were fairies, and then we'd like just bike around. It was so weird. We probably looked super strange. But yeah, we'd also make these things called like leaf tacos or leaf burritos. So we would just like take some chalk and then some water and make like this mush and then put it in leaves and then pretend to like eat it like a taco. It
Oh
was
my.
so weird, but yeah.
Oh my. That is interesting. Some good
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, okay.
Cool.
Yeah. I remember my neighbor, like, okay, I only, like, had two friends that were, like, somewhat close in age to me live in my neighborhood. One of them was, like, a girl who's, like, 2 years older than me. And she's a senior now, but we used to be, like, super close, and, like, every day we would, like, I would go to her house mainly, and I slept over at her house, like, several times, actually. But, like, her
Oh.
mom would always, like, make us noodles with like stinky tofu
Oh,
in it.
that's so nice.
Yeah, it was amazing. And then the other one was this white girl. And I went to her house. Oh, I slept over at her house for a Halloween party, but she was kind of like one of the popular girls, and so I always felt super intimidated by her and her family because they were like super rich too. And so I was like shook every time I went to their house. Their house is like literally so pretty. But,
Yeah. I
yeah.
remember one of my friends, there was like a clique of us. There was like three of us, and one of my friends, her house is literally like the exact same as my house. Like the floor plan was exactly the same,
Oh,
except for our houses were like a little far from each other. But yeah, and like it was super cool. Like I've never seen anything like that. Like the houses were like literally exactly the same as like
uh-huh.
a floor plan, and I was
Yeah.
like,
That's interesting. Yeah. I think a story that like I remember from in school that's like really embarrassing for me to tell people. Actually, it's not that bad, but basically like so growing up, I was like always a really awkward kid. Like well, obviously like I already said that I was really quiet when I was in like kindergarten and like first grade and stuff, but like I started to like break out of my shell, I guess, in like third grade and fourth grade, but I was still like a super awkward kid. So like this one time, I finished like my work. So this is in fourth grade. I finished my work early, and I think I went to go ask my fourth grade teacher like what I should be doing next, or like I just went to tell her that I was done or something. And then like she told me to like take my paper and hand it in somewhere. And then like I don't know why I decided to do this, but I shot like finger guns at her and I was like, got you. And then I walked away. And it was like, I didn't, like, at that moment, I just regretted like every single decision I made. Like, yeah, I don't know. It was really awkward, but it's kind of a horrifying memory for me just because it's kind of similar to like when you call your teacher like mom or dad. It's just like awkward and like you don't really know what to do after that. So, yeah.
yeah. I have an embarrassing story from my neighborhood. Okay, so one time I was locked out of my house. I don't know why or how, but me and my friend from across the street, we were like, oh, we both need to go pee. But we were both locked out of our houses for some weird reason. I don't know why we were locked out. I legit don't know why. And, like, I don't know why our parents weren't home. But we were like, oh, no, we both have to pee, and we're both locked out of our houses. So we went pee in my backyard. But the thing is, my backyard didn't have a fence on it. Like, it was literally just, like, in the open. And we were like, yeah, this is a good idea. We should just, like, pee, like, under that tree over there. And it was like, oh. I remember a car driving by, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is, like, totally normal.
Yeah.
That's a really weird memory, but yeah.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. Besides that, I don't really remember. I do remember in my backyard,
Mhm.
there was like a lot of wildlife. So like in my backyard, it was basically just like my backyard, and then beyond the fence in my backyard was like this huge marsh, and so like there's like always a lot of like animals and stuff. But that's kind of irrelevant. What I was trying to point out is that like I've always had like a bunch of like mice in my shed. So like the shed is like detached from the house, but like I would always see like more not always, occasionally see mice like running around like
Mhm.
in the shed or whatever. Well, obviously in the suburbs like rats and mice are pretty common, especially in sheds, but yeah, so
Shit.
but there's this one time that me, my dad, and my brother were playing soccer outside and just like kicking a ball around, and suddenly like a rat just comes running out of like the shed, and then out of some quick reflex, my dad like stepped on the mouse as it was trying to escape the shed. And basically, the rat died, and its guts spilled
Oh
out
my
everywhere.
gosh.
And yeah,
That's so
it was really
terrifying.
disgusting. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, that's like a pro of living in the city. Like, although there's still like a rat problem and mice problem, like in a lot of places, like it's definitely not a problem, in like my neighborhood now. So I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah.
Uh, well, I wanted to talk about like the internet when we were younger because my like most vivid memories is like going onto Girls Go games. and like playing. Do you
Oh.
remember? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I'm playing those games. I recently went on again and it's like exactly the same. Like I
Really?
found like the exact games I used to play and it was so funny.
Oh my gosh.
I remember there's this
Yeah.
genre like called like romance or something. It would be the most like obscure, like creepy, like it was weird, yeah.
What? No,
Yeah.
I remember Girls Go Games because I remember that's like what I would search up when I was bored. So like I would either search up just like games for girls online, or I would search up like virtual world games for children. And Girls Go Games was one of the many websites that I went on for entertainment when I was younger. And I remember the one I would play, well, I would only play the dress up ones. So I would play like the wedding dress up ones and like the princess dress up ones. And that was
Yeah.
basically it. And low key, I thought they were all like really ugly because they kind of are and the graphics suck. But, you know,
Yeah.
killing
I
time
used
is, that's a really good way. Yeah.
yeah. I used to have like a Kindle Fire, so basically just a tablet, and there's this game called Dragon Veil on it. And me and my friends were like obsessed with it. Like we play like every single day. Basically you just raise dragons, breed dragons, blah blah blah. And it's like so nostalgic to me. Like I put so many hours into it and like I have so many rare dragons from that game. It's amazing.
Oh.
We'd also
I
play this like
never.
knockoff Minecraft game, but
Uh-huh. Yeah, I never played Dragon Veil, but I've definitely seen like a lot of ads for it. I think when I was younger, the one game that I was obsessed with was a game called Moshi Monsters.
yes,
That's
I
where
play
I
that
got
too.
that's where I got all my usernames from. So like my username, well actually I probably shouldn't say it online, but like basically it's just like my name with like a bunch of numbers, right? And that game is where that username was birthed and I still use it to this day. Yeah.
Damn. Uh, yeah, good times. Oh my gosh, what were your favorite TV shows when you were younger? I would say like my favorite would probably be
Oh.
iCarly. Oh my gosh, iCarly
Yeah, this
is
is
my
like a
childhood. Oh my
Nickelodeon
gosh.
versus Disney thing. See, that was more Nickelodeon. I was so obsessed with Disney. Like so obsessed. Yeah. Like
Really?
I
Oh.
I watched like what's it called? Dinosaur Train. And yeah, that's all I remember. Clifford the Big Red Dog. Um
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, Clifford.
What else? I don't really remember
Yeah.
actually. I don't know why I don't remember. But oh, there's this other like show. It was kind of a filler show, but it was like Poco Row or something. It was like a really cute animated little boy and his dog, and it was really cute.
Oh, Totoro. Wait, what? Wait, did you say
No,
Totoro?
no, it was like Poco Row.
Oh, Pokoro.
Yeah,
Oh. Oh, okay.
yeah, it was really cute. But yeah,
Damn.
I thought
Okay.
I was.
Oh.
Oh, you can go.
Oh, you can go. You can go. You can
Okay,
go.
so for Dinosaur Train, I literally thought I was like a genius for knowing the word hypothesis because every single episode he would like come up with a new hypothesis and then they would say like big word of the day is hypothesis. Like you'll need to know this word when you grow up because it's really important. And so I always like every time I watch that show, I'd be like, I have a hypothesis, and then feel really smart afterwards. So
That's so cute.
yeah.
Damn. My shows are a lot more like about magic. I'm definitely Nickelodeon. I was definitely a Nickelodeon kid. I didn't really watch Disney a lot. I think my favorite show when I was little was probably this show called Winx Club. Oh my gosh. I It was literally just about like fairies and stuff. And like I think that's why me and my friends were like so obsessed with fairies all the time because we just watch that show and be like, "Yes, I want to be that." But like the characters in the show like so like not good for young girls because it's just like about like being pretty and like getting a boyfriend and then like
Really?
sort of fighting monsters but like not really.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, My Little Pony, that was also mwah.
Yeah.
Chef kiss.
Yeah. When you were younger, were you more into like magical shows or like reality, like in real
I
person?
think I was definitely into magic. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Also, Project Runway was also really good.
Dang. Yeah. I watched Project Runway in like 7th grade, so
Really?
your
Oh.
fashion sense was way beyond my time. Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember like me and my sister would always watch it together, and it would be like,
Uh-huh.
"That's so ugly. Why would they design it like that?" and stuff like that. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. The artistic family runs in the genes. Yes. But
Whoa.
but
Yeah.
yeah. I think when I was younger, like more than TV shows, I was like over obsessed with toys, like kids toys. I don't know if you've ever played with them, but like Squinkies, I was so obsessed
Squinky.
with Squinkies. Like I
I
had
never got the.
really every
Yeah.
every single Christmas I would ask for Squinkies. On my birthday I would always ask for Squinkies, and I had like this huge cruise ship with like 10 different Squinkies, and literally that's all I would do for like the entire day, just play with Squinkies. Yeah.
I was more into like Barbies and stuff and like American Girl dolls.
Yeah.
Just like human things.
Yeah, I was into Barbies a lot too. I also was into Littlest Pet Shop, so I also had a
Yeah.
huge collection of Littlest Pet Shop stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn, I remember my friend. Okay, like she had this giant collection of like Beanie Babies. Like she had like over like 30 Beanie Babies, and she had like a giant tub of Littlest Pet Shops. So I would always just like go over to her house and like play with her toys because like she had so many. It was like crazy.
Yeah. Actually, I also have a friend like that. Like, so my brother was her brother's like one of his best friends. But this girl was a year, or she is a year younger than I am.
Oh,
But
same.
yeah, but I would always go over to her house because like her living room was literally just like toys, just like piles and piles of toys, and she had
Yeah.
so many of like every single thing that I wanted, and so every time I went to her house, I would like look around and be so jealous and be like, "Oh my
I
gosh, why do you
know,
have all
right?
this stuff?"
Same. No, I always had like a worse version of what she had. So I had like this little like Littlest Pet Shop house, and she had like this giant like tree house of like little like this Littlest Pet Shop like toy set, and it was like, and like my Barbies were like so trash compared to hers,
Uh-huh.
and like
Yeah.
I think we both had like that one friend that had like everything that we wanted,
Uh-huh.
but like more.
Yeah. I think the last thing I was obsessed with, like besides those, was Lego girls. So like the Legos they made for girls, it was basically just like well obviously it was just like girly versions of like the Lego guy sets. So there were like things like pool parties, and then there would just be like Lego girls and stuff like that, and I would be so obsessed with those two, and I would just like spend hours like building them and like playing with them, and I don't even know where they went, but it was actually like quality sets. Like the Legos I had
Dang.
were pretty quality.
Yeah, I never really got into Legos. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Just me.
Yeah, I think for me it was because like my brother was obsessed, and he had a huge drawer full of like miscellaneous Lego parts, and I would always like take them and like build stuff or try to build stuff and fail because I kind of sucked at it, but it was fun. Yeah.
Nice.
What was little Ella like in school?
Okay, in school, I don't really remember being like super shy. I think I was like middle-ish. I don't know if I was like extroverted or not. Oh my gosh, actually, okay. I had this really fond memory. So me and like probably my best friend in school, she and I wrote to play. I don't really know if it was writing because it was based off what was it? It's based off some part of the Bible. She was Jewish. But like I had like no idea what the Bible was at that time. And so she was like, "Oh yeah, there's like this story about like in Egypt like what was it? Like 12.
Moses?
Yeah, something about it was like when like Moses turned like the water into like blood or something. What is it called? It was like the
The
12
12
like
plagues?
yes, the
Yeah.
12 plagues. Yeah, so she told me about that. I was like, "Oh, wow, that's such a cool story." She's like, "Yeah, do you want to like write a play with me?" And I'm like, "Sure."
Oh my
And so she
gosh.
made like 100 origami frogs, and like I would like always be the person that's like being affected by the plague. And so like
Oh
what was
no.
it? The praying mantises, or what are they called?
The locusts?
Yeah, the locusts. Like, I would be like the person that like was lying in bed, and then I would get infested by locusts or frogs or
Oh
whatever.
my god.
And I just like, I had this stuffed animal beaver, and like for some reason I like performed with it, and it was so. That was like the weirdest memory I think I've had in school, because it was just like so random. Like, why a play? Like, why the 12 plagues or whatever? Like, it was just so weird.
That sounds so sad. Like you're always the victim of everything. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I think it was like a one woman show almost, because I would always be the person that like acted, and like she would
Uh-huh.
be like the background person that like dumped the frogs or whatever.
Oh
And we
my
just
gosh.
performed it for our class. It was so weird.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. That sounds so funny to watch though.
Yeah, I really wish like someone recorded it or something,
Uh-huh.
because it must have been like a disaster.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I remember in fourth grade I was in a like in an actual play. So like every year or every 2 years there's like a play company that would like cast like students or like anyone who volunteer signed up. Obviously to not hurt our feelings.
Nice.
And then yeah, they would like cast us and we would audition, and I played a character in The Fisherman and His Wife, and it was supposed to be like one of those like background characters, but basically like they dressed us up in such weird costumes. Like we wore like a soccer jersey and like we looked like a clown, and then we also wore like safari like shorts and like a weird baseball cap or something like that. And they like put so much blush on our cheeks that we look like straight up clowns, and it was terrible. Like we all looked so stupid. Yeah, it was an experience. So
Slaves. Yeah.
yeah, I think for me, personality wise, okay, so I was like really shy from first to third grade, but then in fourth and fifth grade, I think I somewhat became less socially awkward, but not really. I think what's really funny is I was the most socially awkward around my crush. So I had, for all 5 years of elementary school, I had a crush on this one guy who was half white and half like Thai or like Singaporean or something, and both his parents went to MIT, and I was like, oh my gosh, like you're so cool, like you're so smart, I want to be you. And yeah, I just remember just being so awkward around him. There was this one time where me and him were told to like bring something to the principal's office together. Like it was just me and him, and so we were like running down the hallway, and I accidentally like kicked him, I think. And then after I kicked him or shoved him, oh, because we were having like a running competition to see who could like run to the doors first. And then
Yeah.
I like pushed the doors open, and then it closed in his face. So yeah, that basically happened.
Damn.
And that was
Okay,
the extent of my love life in elementary school.
I have one memory about my crush. So, when I think it was third grade or fourth grade, my teacher was like, "Okay, guys, I'm gonna pair you guys up, so you like get to play with someone new during recess." And coincidentally, I got paired with my crush, and like basically the only thing that he wants to do during recess was play kickball, but it was like only two people. And so we basically just kicked a ball around. I just remember feeling like so awkward and like so like I want to get out of this situation as fast as possible. But yeah, that was a really coincidental recess, I guess.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, were there any mean girls at your school? Like anyone who bullied you or anything like that?
No, there was always posters like don't bully, like don't be mean to people, but I remember there being like the pretty popular people or the pretty people. I'm not sure if they're popular because like people didn't really care, but yeah, my friend Charlotte was started like like get part of that group and during like middle school sort of like that time. But yeah, I'm not sure if there's people bullying.
Yeah. No, for me, actually, I was just an oversensitive kid. Like, if anyone said anything that remotely hurt my feelings, I would feel like they were bullying me. And then I would just hate them for the rest of the year. But, like, I was too, like, chicken to, like, ever say anything mean to anyone. So I just kind of, like, hid it in my heart and secretly judged them from afar. And just avoided their path. But basically, there was like a clique at my school that was like the popular girls, and one of them, I actually remember all their names, so I'm not gonna say them. Actually, should I say them? Whatever, it doesn't matter.
No one's gonna watch
yeah, no one's
this.
gonna
It's
watch
fine.
this.
It's
So
fine.
one of them was Olivia, and she was like this super dramatic drama queen. Yeah, she's basically a drama queen. She was like really popular. She was like really extroverted, but she always like was super angsty and like complained about everything. Yeah, she was like
Yeah.
like one of the tallest, and I thought she was kind of pretty, which I don't know,
Yeah.
but she had to be if she was popular. And then the other two were twins actually, and they were oh my
Ooh.
gosh, they were like stereotypical white spoiled brat kids, super rich. They're like both their parents are like doctors, and they have like a
Dang.
huge pool in their backyard that like they invited like all the popular people to. And one of them was just like super ratchet and just super nasty to everyone, including me, which is why I hated her. But the other one was actually pretty nice, which I kind of liked her. She like sometimes talked to me, but not really, because I was lame. Yeah, but
Yeah, I remember when my friend Charlotte, she started like getting into that group. She's like I want to introduce you to these people, and then she's like, okay, so this is like X and like this is Y, and I'm like, oh hi, and I was like so awkward. I didn't know what to say, and they were like so overly nice that I'm like, I feel uncomfortable. And they're like, oh my gosh, you're like so cute, and I was like, I want to go back to my other friends, please.
oh, that's awkward.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, yeah. I think one of the most awkward moments of elementary school that I can remember is once sitting in the cafeteria. So like we sat on benches, basically the same as BLS, but basically like I don't know what happened. I was just eating lunch casually. We were like talking, and all of a sudden I like burped like really loudly, and it was a really fat burp. And then everyone got super offended because it was like at that age where like everyone gets offended at like farts and burps and like thinks they're so disgusting. And so everyone just like scooched away from me.
What?
And there's just like a foot radius around me because everyone just moved, and I felt so dejected, and it was really sad.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yeah,
Oh.
it was traumatizing. But
I remember there's this big thing. Okay, so there's like this monkey bar set, right, in like the playground, and the big thing was like an apple turnover. Like if you could do an apple turnover, you were cool, which is basically just like flipping on the monkey bars. And like I remember there would be like these groups of girls that would like teach people how to do apple turnovers, and like there would always be people doing apple turnovers. It was like the thing to do, and it was just like so weird. And then when I finally did an apple turnover, I felt like some kind of like redemption. Like yes, I am worthy now. It was weird. We'd also do this thing on the swing sets called Fly or Die. Basically, you just like swing on them. Do you remember? I think I told you about this before.
We did that too.
Yeah, you just like jump off, and then if you like land good, you flew or whatever, and then if you like crash and burn, then you die.
Oh.
It was so weird, and people like judge your like jumps like off the swing. It was.
Yeah, we did that too actually, but we did like a competition thing. It was like whoever could jump the farthest would win. And
oh, that makes more sense. Yeah.
And in response to your apple turnover thing, that would have, like, if I was in your school at that time, I would have been like the loserest loser, because I still can't do the monkey bars. Like, I've never done a full set of monkey bars, and monkey bars are like the bane of my existence. Especially in elementary school, but yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why that was such a big thing, like, but.
Yeah. Were there any like school traditions at your school, like festivals or like anything like that?
Yeah, we used to have field day, which would like, I don't really remember much about it, but I do remember one game. So my school, like my elementary school, it had like a pool. It was like kind of like a public pool, but it was connected to the school. And so there would be this thing where they'd have trash cans that would have holes in them. They called it holy moly. So basically, I mean, it's basically fill like as much water as possible, but there's holes in the bucket. And like people like cover it like with their bodies and stuff. And I just remember like it being really funny because like everyone would be rushing to the pool to get the water to like put it in and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like field day. That's like the only thing I remember.
Oh, okay. At my school,
What about you?
actually, it was like so many. Like literally, we had so many festivals and like parties and like whatever. Like I don't know. One of them was like Halloween. So like every Halloween, my school would set up like a party, or I don't like there's a specific name for it, but it was basically just like a Halloween party at my school. And like the fifth graders, it was like a tradition that the fifth graders every year would set up a haunted house, um, and with like a different theme, and we would like get together and organize it and then like execute it. And we would have like cake walks and like raffles and stuff like that. It was so
Oh,
fun.
that's
It was
so.
honestly
Oh yeah,
so
we had an
fun.
ice cream social, but like
Same.
I only went to it like once because it like wasn't that cool.
Oh
That's all I
really?
remember. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, at my school, like ice cream socials was like one of the biggest events of the year. So I think we held
Oh,
it
really?
twice a year. But yeah, it was like literally the entire school would show up, and like we would
Dang.
all like play and like get as much ice cream as we wanted, and we would always play like cops and robbers and stuff. It is really fun.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just remember there's like a cotton candy machine at the ice cream social. Like that was it. That's all I remember.
Cotton candy social.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh.
Also, among other things, we also have like fall festival, and then we had this other thing that was like making scarecrows every October. So like we would like make well we had sign up to make scarecrows, and then like we would get like cider donuts while we're making them after school,
Nice.
and then they would hang all of the scarecrows up on the main street in my town, and like display
Oh,
it for
that's
everyone.
so cute.
Yeah,
Oh my
it was
god.
so cute. Yeah, I miss my town. It was cute.
Yeah, same.
Hmm.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Well, anything else?
I don't really have anything else. Actually, I want to dedicate this next minute to talking about one of my most cherished friends from my old town, because her family was literally so nice to me. I met her in like fourth or fifth grade. I low key, so she was Malaysian. I low key thought she was a boy the first time I met her. Just cause like she
Yeah.
has like short hair, and she like dresses in like polos and stuff. She's like a
Yeah.
really tomboy. But
Mhm.
she was like super smart and super artistic, and I just remember she lived in an apartment complex really close to my house, and I would go to her apartment complex all the time, and we'd go biking, and like her family was so nice. Like every Christmas, every time I went over, and like during my birthdays and stuff, they'd always give me like presents, and like I felt so bad
Aw.
because my family never gave her presents. And I just felt so guilty, but yeah, it was
Oh,
amazing.
okay. Well, if you're gonna talk about your friend, then I guess I'll talk about my friend group.
Uh huh.
So, I would like to dedicate the next maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes to my two friends, Fiona and Yule, from Michigan. We were basically like a group. There's also Vivian, but Vivian was like my other best friend, but like not in like the group. So basically, I remember like the day before I moved. I think was it I don't know. Three of us, I'm pretty sure, we went into the woods behind Fiona's backyard, right? And we like didn't know what was like beyond the woods. So we just like, okay guys, this is the last day Ella's here. We're gonna find out what's on the opposite side of the woods. And so we went on like this expedition like through the woods, like through the mud and everything to find out what was on the other side. And it turns out it was just like another part of our neighborhood. And then we had to like walk all the way back because we didn't want to go
Wow.
back into the woods. But yeah, that I remember that was like my last day at Michigan. It was like really nice. And then we named ourselves the Funky Bunch. Wait, no, I went through the forest with Fiona and Vivian, not with Yule. But yeah, that's like the last memory I have of like being in Michigan and stuff. But yeah,
Dang. Your childhood had a lot of forest traversing.
yeah,
Like,
it was very like about nature, I guess.
mhm. Being Pocahontas, yeah.
Pocahontas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ah, the sweet memories of childhood that we will
I
never
know.
return to.
I feel like I moved to Westboro before I moved to Boston, and like damn, that time of my life was like so weird.
Hmm.
Cause like my neighborhood, I don't know, it was weird.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of relate to that. Actually, I
Mhm.
don't really know if I do, but Yeah, because I lived in Brighton before I lived in West Roxbury, and the Brighton stretch, like the St. Columkill stretch of my life, was like that
Oh
year.
my gosh, St. Columkill.
So weird. That was the weirdest.
Do you want to talk about St. Columkill? Because that was a weird place.
That was so weird. I still feel like it was a dream, like just being there.
I know, right?
Oh my gosh, it was so weird.
It's just like the school is like so easy that it just felt like free time, like all the time at school. It like didn't feel like school.
Yeah, I know, right?
At least for me.
Oh my gosh. Wait, what's her name? Wait, what's that teacher's name? So there's Miss Old Lady, and there's
Miss Leslie?
Miss Leslie.
Was that her name?
I don't think so.
Wait, which one? Which one?
The blonde
She's like the
one.
fat one that taught like home ec and stuff.
I thought that was like Miss Wesley or something like that.
Oh, wait. Wesley or Leslie? I don't know. I don't remember.
think it's either, actually. I know it starts with a W, but I forget what her name is.
Wow. Yeah, I think she got fired, didn't she?
Yeah,
I
she
feel
did.
like,
and then what's the young one's name? Like the one who was like new.
Laffy.
Miss
Laffy.
Oh yes, Miss Laffy.
Damn, I felt bad for her because she
gosh.
was like people would like bully her.
Yeah.
Like the students like never listened to her. It was really sad.
Okay, I was like her favorite student because I was like the only one who actually did work, and then there would be like Albert, who was like genuinely smart.
Oh my gosh,
but, like,
Albert.
All he did was like wander and walk around class and like scooch his desk around with like the other kids. And it was so annoying. Like literally. Wait, my gosh.
Didn't you say he like brought a knife to school or something one day?
Yes. He did. Basically, what happened was, like, I went to PAX. This is the year I brought you, I think. Or we went together. But basically, like, he was like, yo, if you get me merch from PAX, I'll give you, like, a switchblade. And I was like, I'll pass on that. Thank you very much. I'll, like, get you something that's free, but I don't want, like, a knife. Like, thank you very much, but I'll have to pass. But basically what happened was, like, I did get him something from PAX. It was, like, this cheap, old, crusty cardboard, like, crown thing. And he actually brought, like, a switchblade to school and, like, tried to give it to me. And I was like, bro, I don't want it. Like, I don't want it.
So funny.
Yeah.
I remember, Sandra, I forgot her last name, Sandra. We were, like, buddies. I remember hanging out, like, after school. I think Sandra and Chrissy were my friends in St. Columkill.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if we were that close during. I don't remember us like really. I remember going to Tedeschi's sometimes, and like you would like be there. But
I remember playing with you after school on like the little scooters things.
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
gym.
I remember that.
Yeah.
That was nice.
But actually, we didn't get. We weren't close for like 75% of the year. I think the last 25% of the year, you, me, and Marissa were close.
Oh yeah, because we all got into BLS.
Yeah, and we went to like Marissa's house, and like you guys. Okay, that was the phase of your life where you were obsessed with like clothes making and like dolls and like making clothes for your dolls.
That was weird.
And so was Marissa.
I was obsessed with Ever After High dolls. That was like my thing.
Yeah,
oh
I just remember you guys were so like over obsessed, like 110% obsessed, and I literally didn't know like why. I thought it was so stupid, honestly, but I kind of just had to pretend that I like was interested in it so that like I wasn't marginalized.
I remember.
Yeah,
Me and Marissa, we were like playing with the dolls, and then you were so confused. You just trying to like go along with everything.
Yeah, it was so weird.
I remember that play date. That was really interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was
But like honestly, those Tedeschi runs were so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like just like getting fat off junk food.
Sandra's honey buns. Oh my goch. Like
Sandra's
every time
honey
she would
buns.
only thing she would get was honey buns, and she'd get like 3
Yeah.
of them, and you would always be like, "You're gonna get so fat off these."
She never got like fat. I was so confused.
Yeah.
I was like, oh. I also remember knitting club. Oh my gosh, knitting club was chef kiss to knitting club because that was like some really fond memories I had.
Yeah, I never went to knitting club, but I do remember going to like this art club after school with you, and we would and Marissa, and Oh, one thing I remember vividly is like during that after school art club, we were painting birds. Like we were painting a mural and we each had like a bird to paint. I was painting like a parrot or something. And you were like drawing the birds to paint because like obviously you're like a talented artistic brain, but yeah.
I don't remember this, but okay.
Yeah. And then also the other club I went to was it was like a games club. It was like a board game club after school, which sounds super lame, but it was so fun. Yeah.
I remember doing home ec with someone. I don't remember who. And like I remember the W teacher, whatever her name was, she like taught us how to make eggs. And like that's like the only thing I remember.
Wait, I think I remember her name. Isn't it like Miss Wesner?
Yes,
Yeah.
Miss Wesner. Damn, that memory.
Yeah. She was so aggressive towards some people, but she like adored me. Like she thought I was adorable, but that was because I was like obese. So, sorry, not obese. I was like super chubby and like studgy and like just like squishy, which is why she thought I was cute. But yeah.
Damn. I know she was my homeroom teacher, but yeah, she was kind of mean. She kind of yelled sometimes, but I remember her daughter came over one day, and I was like, whoa, she has like a child. Like, that's so weird.
Yeah. No, I think one of the main things I remember about her is her boiling, raging hatred for Albert.
Yes.
Okay, this is like every teacher.
All the teachers hated Albert.
Yeah,
honestly.
but she was like, I just remember this one time. He like got up in the middle of like a spelling test or something, and started walking around, and then she was like, she like went off. Like sister snapped, and she was like, "You are never gonna get anywhere in life. Like you're not gonna make it in VLS. Like these are not good habits. Like literally, you're so misbehaved." Yeah,
that is so brutal.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
well, we got into the advanced math class, so
yeah, but that doesn't really say much.
everything else kind of
spiraled down. But, yeah. Very fond memories of our olden days. Yeah, it's been actually 50 minutes, so.
Oh, damn. I didn't even realize. Yeah. Okay, well, I guess this concludes this third episode of ThoughtBubble podcast.
Yes. Comment down below any topics you want to hear us talk about.
Yes. It's basically us rambling, but yeah, if literally anyone cares, please comment any topic ideas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
See you next time.
Yeet.
Okay. Bye.